They said we should be smiling and laughing now, or in the midst of all this hopelessness. So welcome to the program, if you can hear me.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. Morning.
Good morning. Please take us through some of the interventions that the central bank has come up with, because just as we confirmed the first case in February, just I think weeks later, 1 week or 2 weeks later, we saw mitigation measures from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Speak to me about some of those interventions so that our viewers can understand it.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. I'll speak about two big ones we've done. The first one is the 50 billion credit support, really for households that have been affected by the COVID-19 and small businesses. That is being run through the National Microfinance Bank. And as we speak, we've just approved over 3,200 applications. There's been an avalanche of applications in the hundreds of thousands. We've approved 3,200 applications and across both households and SMEs, and they should begin to receive the credits today. The other applications have been processed. You know that there's been a lockdown in some states. What the National Microfinance Bank has done is to really democratize it. So they're using technology to harvest a lot of the applications, process them quickly, and then credit the beneficiaries. So that's the 50 billion which we're running through the National Microfinance Bank. Another intervention we've done is really targeted at healthcare. There's a 100 billion naira credit support facility for the healthcare industry spread across pharmaceuticals, hospitals, across different players. We received a couple of applications. Around 31 billion naira is going to be disbursed after due diligence to the beneficiaries also. So those are two interventions that we've quickly rolled out to address the challenges associated with the COVID-19 virus.
Okay, quite interesting that you've said. Should I take it as a breaking news now that National Microfinance Bank has approved, I think, over 3,000 applications and will begin disbursement today? Did I hear you correctly?
Absolutely, absolutely. The successful beneficiaries will begin to receive the credit. Like I said, there's been a huge avalanche of applications, and we'll continue to process that as they come. But in the next couple of days, you'll continue to see different approvals, and there's been quite a substantial number, especially across small businesses. Small businesses have really been affected by the shutdown. So because of the avalanche, we're really looking at how we can, spread out, the facility so that every eligible business can get access to this facility. And I want you to also tell your viewers to remember that this is not a grant. It's a loan. So there are quite some criteria that you need to meet. And then once you meet those criteria, the disbursement will be done. But I can tell you, like I said, that over 3,200 beneficiaries will start to receive their credits today.
Okay, so that's breaking news. In fact, that should be on the screen shortly as you are confirming it to us that over 3,000 applicants should receive their disbursement from today. Now, Nigerians will want to know what are the procedures to be able to take advantage of this loan. And I like that you said it's a loan, it's not grant, because when it comes to things around government, most Nigerians think it's like national cake. Let me just take it on. And TRS, let me put it that way so that people can understand. So what are the criteria?
Okay, so there are two groups of applications that have been set out in the guideline. There's one for the households and there's one for the small businesses. For the households, you can access up to 3 million naira. I'll give you an example. Somebody who's lost his job, he can't afford to feed his family. He really just needs to go to the portal. He applies. He gives us a guarantor. He gives the NMFB a guarantor. Provides his BVN, and then if he's successful, he gets a disbursement based on the criteria that the NMFB has set out. For the small businesses, you typically would show your cash flow as part of your business plan. Provide some element of collateral. It might be a personal guarantee. It might be a title document. And very easy. The disbursement is done. Everything is done online. It's transparent. You don't need to know anybody in the NMFB or in the central bank. You just simply apply. It's looked at on its merits, and then the disbursement is done. Personal guarantee for individuals, typically it can be a cleric, it can be a religious leader, it can be a civil servant for state, minimum level 10, for federal minimum level 8. It can be your community leader, or he just needs to provide the guarantee, and then you quickly can access the facility that has been set out.
Okay, still on this issue about collateral, how stringent is it? Because you just said it's quite easy. I want to know how easy it is, because we know the issues of collateral, and that was why perhaps the National Collateral Registry was created. How about for those that don't have title documents, don't have the collateral requirements? What should they do?
Good point. We will. The NMFB will take movable collateral that is registered with the National Collateral Registry as a collateral. For those who are doing households, a personal guarantee, like I said, is sufficient. For SMEs, a title document. It can be a movable collateral. It can be a car. It can be, it can be animals. It can be something that we can register. And remember, the National Collateral Registry has registered over ₦1 trillion worth of collateral in the registry. So, movable is acceptable to the National Microfinance Bank.
Okay. Are we seeing, out of the 3,000 applications that have come, is there a spread across the country? Because we should be concerned about also national spread to catalyze that economic activity that we really need, even as we battle COVID-19, because it's about saving lives and livelihoods side by side.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at the numbers, we looked at the numbers yesterday, and it does reflect what we're seeing. States that have been shut down, FCT, Abuja, you will typically see a lot of small businesses that have been granted the facility. Same with the household. So it's a reflection, even though the disbursement has been done across the 6 geopolitical zones, because it's the business today. It's connected. What happens in Lagos affects somebody in Zamfara. Logistics, the supply chain that is broken. So it's a reflection across the entire country. Disbursements will be done. But like I said, it's a reflection of the states that have been hardest hit. Both Abuja and the FCT and Ogun State also are areas where small businesses have been affected, and disbursement, they're going to be getting the credit facility.
Okay, let's move over to the health intervention. Just like you said earlier, you just brushed through it, but I want us to dig a bit deeper into it, because the central bank also came up with intervention for the health sector in the country. Speak to us about that, and how far have we seen pharmaceutical companies so far, trying to get those funds?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, we've received a couple of applications worth around 31 billion naira. Remember, the credit support is for 100 billion, spread across both hospitals, both pharma, both diagnostic centers, and this credit support facility is going to be done through the banks. We have one of our mechanisms that we use, which is called the Real Sector Support Facility. If for those who've read the guidelines, we've tried, because healthcare is something that is sensitive, we've tried to make it the loan quite long term. It's up to 10 years and at single-digit interest rate. So we have applications that are undergoing processing spread across, like I said, pharma, hospitals, diagnostic centers, and we're trying to fast track them, working with the banks who are the ones to bear the risk, to see how we can disburse that. But we currently, like I said, have applications worth 31 billion, and in the next couple of days, they also should begin to receive them. Okay,
so those companies, pharmaceutical companies and hospitals also have their own separate guidelines which they need to attend to. How stringent are they, or how easy are those guidelines?
Like I said, in a crisis situation, you have to balance. It's credit, like I said, and you have to balance the risk. What the governor has done is to try as much as possible to encourage them, to apply. And working with the bankers committee, we've not been too stringent. Like I said, the guidelines for the real sector support facility already exist, and it's the only way that you can, create employment and stimulate growth. So they're not too stringent. The ones that we've seen and we've received, they almost will meet the criteria for those businesses that are existing. Like I said, a single-digit interest rate, you can't get that anywhere. And typically, the way the real sector support facility works is the banks usually do their due diligence, get their credit committees to approve the credit and send it to us. So a lot of background work has already been done by the banks. So the CBN is really looking at, indeed, do these credits, will they create jobs? Will they achieve the target objectives that we've set? And once that is done, we'll quickly approve that and we'll disperse that. So I don't think the conditions that have been set out in the guidelines are stringent enough. If they're stringent enough, we'll not have gotten those applications that are up to 31 billion out of the 100 billion already. Okay.
A lot of people are interested in this conversation, and it's coming through on social media. Saifunu says, hello, Nancy, great work you're doing. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Please, where can one apply for this loan? I guess the person is talking about the 50 billion Naira loan going through the National Microfinance Bank. Like you said earlier, it could be online, isn't it? It's just for them to go to the portal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah, it's just for them to go to the portal. It's been, you can go to either the Twitter handle of the NMFB or the website of the NMFB, and it's on the landing page. You can apply. And for those who don't have access to computers and all that, they can go to, for states that are not on lockdown. We encourage them to find, centers where they can, either community centers where you have computers or entrepreneurship development centers who the National Microfinance Banks work with, to go there and just get somebody to help them through the application process. Typically it takes less than 5 minutes to complete end-to-end the application, and then you receive an email confirming that you've applied, and they will get back to you. So it's very simple. You can actually do it on your phone, on your computer, or you go to any of the centers or where there's a computer.
Okay, I think that has basically answered that question. So for those that want to still be part of it, you've heard the director of DFD department at the CBN, Mr. Yila, say earlier that disbursement will start today to about over 3,000 beneficiaries. So what are you waiting for? You can still be part of it. But it's not a loan. It is not a grant. It is a loan. Okay, Mr. Yila, I'm still with you for just 1 minute before you go. Let's take this. Gloria is saying, can a small business owner access the CBN intervention loan, and at what interest rate? Good question. Mr. Yila, can you answer that? At what was the interest rate?
The interest rate is 5% between now and March 2021. So it's 5%. You can't get that anywhere. 5% interest rate. That's what we're giving the 50 billion at.
Okay. This person on Twitter said, please, the site of the microfinance is now closed. Kindly confirm with your guest. You just heard him say you can go to the portal. I think it's www.nmfb, if I'm not mistaken. That's the website of the NISAL Microfinance Bank. And we shouldn't get it mistaken. There's a NISAL and there's a NISAL Microfinance Bank. The two are different entities. Isn't it, Mr. Yila? So that people don't get it confusing.
Yes, they are totally different entities. The National Microfinance Bank is owned by the Bankers Committee. Like you said earlier, it's not closed. It's a 50 billion credit support facility. We've started disbursing, like I said today, just 2.5 billion. So as the days go by, you continue to see a lot of disbursement. But please encourage the viewers to go and apply. Anybody saying it's closed is passing the wrong information. And the governor said, look, he wants it to reach as much people as possible that are affected, both small businesses that are affected by the virus. And if you look at in the state, you remember 350 billion within weeks it's finished, and they brought in an additional 484 billion. So please, let's encourage our small businesses and our households that have been affected to just simply go and apply.
Okay.
And anybody saying it's not closed, it's there for those who want and are affected by the COVID-19.